Hey everyone, welcome. Happy Friday. I'm going to be bringing folks in while we wait here, but I wanted to thank you all for taking the time to be with us this morning. And we are so lucky to have Hannah McLean from SPATE back with us. She's going to be giving us a quick overview on what's new on the platform and doing a little refresher for those of you who maybe have not played with your SPATE membership yet, so that you will be ready to go with your platform access, and then she'll take your questions. And so we're going to do this as we always do. We're going to just allow you guys to come off mute, ask your questions directly, or of course, you're welcome to drop them in the chat if you have a question and you're in a space where you would prefer to have me ask it. So I am going to wait about 1 or 2 more minutes before we get Hannah started. But while we're waiting, please go ahead and drop in chat. Just introduce yourself, share your brand so that Hannah can see who all's here.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenny. It's nice to meet everyone. I look forward to hearing your questions.
Good morning, Joy.
And Jenny, if you want, I can start going into a brief kind of intro on SPATE.
Yeah,
as
let's
a
go ahead
refresh
and
for
do
everyone.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
let's
I'll
go
do
ahead and do
that,
that,
and then we're
recording. So
perfect. Then we'll jump into the dashboard. So as a reminder, at SPATE, we're surfacing consumer level data so that you're able to really understand what your consumer might be looking for, where are their white space opportunities in the marketplace, or gaps that consumers don't feel like their needs are being met. And we do this by surfacing Google search data and now also TikTok data. So I think that's the really exciting new feature that we wanted to talk about today is we now track TikTok hashtags specifically in the beauty and wellness space. So you're able to see them in a really consolidated, clear format to use those insights to then help your brand and push your messaging forward. So these are the data sets we cover. That's Google search and TikTok. The reason we went with TikTok instead of an Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat is it really closely aligns with Google search in the sense that you can search for things on TikTok, right? And it's a go-to now for many people to go to TikTok and say, I'm looking for a face serum that's best for dry skin or whatever it may be. And those insights help us to understand what consumers are looking for. And it really ties closely to the sales funnel. So that's why we decided to add TikTok to the mix. And then what we're doing in the dashboards, we're answering these 3 big industry questions. First one being, what's that next big trend? So we're looking at the past 3 years of historical data to see what are the next 12 months look like and help you work through the different trends, because there's a lot going on right now and there's a lot happening with even language. I think about consumers aren't really, gravitating towards the term acne anymore. It's more about hormonal acne. It's about very specific needs they're looking for. So how do I make sure I'm optimizing for that? Second question is, we can show you which brands are owning the space. I think what's really cool about this too is we're always adding new brands to the dashboard. So I'll actually go in here and show you in our section, the top. So if you don't ever see a brand, like let's say Olaplex wasn't in our dashboard, you can click suggest, and then our team will take a look to make sure the search volume's there, and they'll add the brand. So it's a really great way to, if you see a new brand out there, you want your brand added, to see if you can have it added to our dashboard from a search or TikTok perspective. Any questions so far? Do you have any questions in the chat, Jenny?
none yet. I just wanted to remind everyone, if you have a question, just go ahead and pop off your mute and you can ask directly. We want this to be really conversational.
Yeah, feel free to jump in. If not, I just wanted to show the last kind of big burning question we're answering in the dashboard is how to position a product. So we're looking at all of the related search terms or related hashtags within an industry to show you what consumers care about in terms of language. So that means if I go into our industry section here, I'm in beauty, I'm in hair care, I'm looking at, let's say, hair care products, and I'm in the search section, and I go down and I want to understand what benefits consumers are looking for. It's not loading right now. Let me refresh my screen. It should populate now. Yep. So if we're looking for benefits and we want to see what's increasing, meaning what's gaining the most in search volumes month to month, I'm going to click the increase button and you can see it's going from top to bottom. And the word clarifying is really resonating with consumers. Then you can take it a step further and see, okay, why are they searching for the term clarifying? What terms are they specifically looking for? And is it brand driven or is it a generic driven search term? And how can I use this maybe in my marketing strategy or product development to resonate with consumers? Questions on this section?
I do have a quick question,
Okay,
Hannah.
cool.
Hi.
Mhm.
So I have a beauty on demand marketplace. And so a lot of the search terms apply in terms of what people may be looking for. I know this is more from a product standpoint, but just in thinking of how I can utilize this platform to look for key search terms that may apply to the beauty on demand space, I'm just thinking about what maybe some things you recommend in terms of search terms to start with.
Of course. And when you say beauty on demand space, is it like a retailer type space?
It's someone comes to you. So think like Uber for beauty. So someone comes to you, does your hair, makeup, and nails. So they come in home, your hotel, wherever you are.
Okay, cool. So
Mhm.
I would definitely pay attention then to we have hair services in here or makeup services,
Okay.
skincare services. Look within any of our services in the beauty space and see
Okay.
how things are being searched for. I would also focus on things like location, like what's
Okay.
taking off in terms of location. You can take a look at even you can look at retailers too, because I think that ties in nicely to, are people ordering a lot of Sephora products? Like, how's that working? So use that as a filter here. Or you could go into our category trends section, look under, let's say we're going back to hair to stay consistent, hair services, and seeing what's early stage, like a scalp facial, hair dusting, and making sure like you're covering these services, or if you already are, how do you talk about them to consumers in a relevant way? Like a scalp facial, you could click in here. This is a great area to invest in if you're not already, because you can see it's growing at 31% in the next 12 months. People are really hungry for it. And there's not a lot going on with brands. So out of the 1.7 thousand searches per month for a scalp facial, only 40 of those are done with a brand, meaning consumers aren't sure where to turn at the moment. So they want this service, but they don't know where to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. I'm just loading this. And you can always click over to see if we have it on TikTok yet. We don't. And if you see that, you can go like this and then put TikTok in parentheses, and our team will take a look and they'll add it in TikTok too. What's nice about the TikTok component as well that I didn't mention before is we actually show the top videos too. So you can see what consumers are looking at from a visual trends perspective. Thanks, Joy, though. That was a good question. I think there's a few questions in the chat. Does anyone have any questions live, or should we go over some chat questions?
Let me see, I'm taking a look. I think a lot of the questions here in chat were for me
Okay,
about how to
perfect.
access the membership.
Okay.
But we do have Shamika on the call, and she's brand new to the platform. So Shamika, if I can put you on the spot, do you want to come off of mute and tell Hannah a little bit more about your business, and maybe she can give you some ideas on how you would use the platform?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I'm Shamika. I'm founder of Cassidy and More Hair. I basically I have a 4-step lace wig system for women who wear lace wigs, and I specialize in custom made wigs for women who are suffering from alopecia. So I'm basically new and trying to understand like how to utilize the platform.
Yeah, no, that's a great space to be in. I feel like I've seen lace wigs actually come up quite a bit. So you can see we have lace wig, full lace wig, and even all these others. So I'm gonna pull this up here. So you can see lace wig is actually doing better on TikTok, interesting enough, versus search. It's coming down. But if I go back to hair extensions, so this is in our industry section, and I'm looking under hairstyling products, hair extensions, and we can see what's increasing at the highest right here. And you can see the HG lace frontal wig, or you can see the lace closure wig. The lace melting spray is actually doing the best. I'm not sure if that's also relevant to the category you're in, but
Yeah, that's the main selling product that I sell.
oh, cool. Well, that's great because this one is actually predicted to grow 24% in the next 12 months. And like what we were talking about before with Joy, it's really great to pay attention to, sorry for me the barking, to the brand searches as well. So you can see here, if you scroll down, there's not really much going on for brands. There's only, looks like no brands being searched for. So you could become that brand in the space. And what this is telling me is it might be a low volume trend at the moment, but we're seeing a lot of growth year over year with this product. So how do you bring this to the forefront of consumers? It's doing well. It's something that's a trend that's taking off. What terms you make sure you're using that resonate with consumers? And you could go back into this hair extension category to really find the different benefits and concerns and product format that are doing well. One other piece of feedback I'd have that you should look at is looking at hair concerns. So within each category, we actually have a whole category dedicated to concerns because that's how a lot of people search for things. And like you mentioned with alopecia, that's definitely a top concern with hair. So how do you address that here? And I'm just refreshing. It's my Wi-Fi. As I'm refreshing this, you can see how alopecia comes up right here as a concern. I think it might come up as a main concern too. So it's a whole category that we have on the dashboard with hair condition. You can see how alopecia has been searched for. It really started to take off in March 2022, which is interesting. And you can see how it's been doing on TikTok as well. So TikTok is actually growing a lot. And we have these top videos that you can take a look at for alopecia. So what are consumers looking at and what are they looking for in terms of new solutions? And then we have all the hashtags here. So this could really help with your posts of hashtags you could include when you're doing something on alopecia.
Oh, so basically you're doing a search on this software and then use that as the hashtag as or what other content to produce for your brand. Basically.
Yeah. And
Okay.
like you can see what's like the week over week growth. You can even look at, maybe you just want to see hacks that people are looking for, or you just want to see ingredients. So you can sort by all these filters too, which is really nice.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
So we have a question in chat from Nakia. Nakia, do you want to come off of mute or would you like me to ask?
Hey, how is everyone today? Thank you so much for this refresh. I appreciate it. I have been in the tool a bit, and it's really been very helpful for us in terms of just understanding consumer behavior. And I was curious if there was where there's like the ability to potentially drill down on the demo in terms of like who's buying skincare, you know, for women, you know, between 25 and 45, if they're professional, what's their spending habits? Do we have a portfolio for that, or is it just kind of like an overall?
So we're not a targeting platform, so we can't tell you who's searching for something. Because of the way that Google search data works, it's not technically like ethical to be able to see who's searching for it. And I think if people knew that we could see, you know, Hannah, whatever age, is looking for X, Y, and Z, they would be a lot, you know, more secretive with what they're searching. What we do have is we do have a demo filter that where you can look for terms like baby, women, girl, teen, and that's going to help you with, that means someone's typing like best acne treatment for teens. So you know that people are searching for this who are age, you know, probably 14 to 18 or whatever. Or we even have, I think it's an over 50 or over 40. You can see what's being searched with these terms. And then I would also look to the term mature too. So mature skin's been really big. So if you're looking for an older demographic and you're like what's going on with mature skin versus anti-aging, looking at those types of terms.
Got it. Love that. That's super helpful. Thank you so much.
Of course. No, that's a great question. It's probably one of our most asked questions. And although it would be really helpful to be able to see who's searching for things, I think people wouldn't give us as many unfiltered searches.
Great point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But this is also helpful, kind of a workaround to get
Yeah,
to that place.
it's kind of a workaround. And then I would say, since we added TikTok, you can kind of make the inference that people using TikTok are generally skew younger. We can't say that for certain, but it tends to be the case. So maybe look at what's on search versus TikTok and how do those two differ.
Got it. Thank you so much. Very helpful.
Of course.
And we have a question from Eunice as well. Eunice, are you available to come off of mute?
Yes, I had a question about if you have data for professional skincare brands as well as services.
Yeah, we do. So when you say professional, you mean like dermatologist, like
Yeah,
level?
dermatologist, aesthetic,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So the place to look would be go into face services if you're
Mhm.
looking for specific services that we cover and what are consumers looking for. So you can go into like facial filler services, for example, here, see everything that's being searched for, what's growing. And if you're looking for specific brands, you can always search them at the top. Or you can look for terms like, you want to see like dermatologist, like a lot of people
Sure.
type in like dermatologist next to something. You could look at that as a related search and then see what brands are being searched with this term. And they might not always be professional, but it's still interesting to see what consumers think might be a professional brand.
Okay.
Yep. And then you can always search at the top for any other brands you might not be seeing. And again, if you don't see it populate, you can click the suggest button and then our team will take a look to see if the search volume is there and they will add it to the dashboard if it is and send you an email.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Of course. And I also want to call out that you can look, we are in the industry section. If you're more in a discovery mode and want to see what's taking off from like a skincare face services perspective, go into category trends. And I would look to face services here. And I would click this filter early stage to see what's still smaller in search volume, but that's growing. So things like Moxie laser, nano needling, snail facial. This is helping you kind of identify early stage or newer niche trends. Whereas late stage is showing you trends that are more mainstream at the moment, but they're still seeing growth, like a red light therapy.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we have other questions? You guys can shout them out too.
Yeah,
Well,
feel free to come off of mute.
yeah. While we're waiting for other questions, I did want to point out that we have this section called onboarding videos, and it's a really great tool if, let's say, you're wondering, how do I utilize a section like category trends, or how do I utilize the section industries, or even I just want a quick refresh on SPATE and what they do. Come into this section, and we have about 2-minute videos here that give a really great overview of what our dashboard can do in an easy to digest way. So check out these videos. They're really great. And then we have a whole section on TikTok too. And again, this is right on the left side of the toolbar under onboarding videos.
Hannah, this is Joy again. So you mentioned you can search information by brands. How do you use this as kind of a competitor analysis tool?
Definitely. I would say one of the best ways to do that, there's a few ways, is let's say you have a certain category in mind where you want to compare brands and you're looking within makeup and you want to understand within face makeup and blush products, who's really owning that space. If you scroll down, we have this brand section listed on every page. What you're going to see first is brands that have the highest search volume. If you want to see who's really kind of gaining traction, who's doing a great job, of volume, but also growing their brand year over year, you're going to sort by increase to see, okay, Rare Beauty is still at the top, but then brands like Tarte are coming up, Pixie Beauty, NARS. If you want to see smaller, more indie brands that are really making a name for themselves in the space, click on the year over year filter and you can start to see, okay, some smaller brands that are, or brands that are newer to this specific blush space, like a Makeup by Mario, and see how they're gaining traction. To take it one step further, what you can do is you can create, and I clicked into the brand, something called a watch list. So let's say you want to compare like 5 different brands, 10 different brands, whatever it may be. You're going to click add to watch list. Let's say I'm saying like blush, competitive, create watch list. I go into my watch list section here. I'll pull this up and then I can start to add more brands. So maybe I want to see Charlotte Tilbury. I want to see Fenty. And I want to see Rare Beauty. Because I'm looking at different blushes and how they're doing this space. You can add them all here and then it gives you a side-by-side analysis. And you can take them out. You can just look at 2 next to each other. You can look at them all. You could even see combined just to see how the blush space is doing in general for these brands. But this is a great way to save your work. So you don't have to come into the dashboard fresh each time. You can do this for brands and you can also do this for trends too. So you can do it like I created one before, like ingredients for hair care. And I was looking at ginger, keratin, and rosemary oil. And you can compare 3 ingredients or compare 3 different trends, like 3 face services. So really anything that you want to focus on, so you feel like your projects are saved in the tool.
Awesome. Wow. This is amazing.
Yeah, I love
Thank
this
you.
part. And I'd say this is great. So let's say you're working with creating like a pitch deck for an investor, or you're trying to work with a new retailer, or you're just trying to sell anyone on the space you work in. Use this to like create screenshots and show them like, this is how I fit in. And this is how I'm using data to back up what I'm doing.
Perfect. And yeah, I see we have the ability to export the data
Yep.
too. So that's
And you
awesome.
can do it as a image too, or you can take a screenshot.
Perfect.
Yeah. One other section I want to call out is our spotlight section. This is where we surface all the reports we do. So these are reports that are available to all our subscribers. You can come take a look at any of these, download them. You can send them to, people who work in the industry for inspiration, and you could even replicate these. So maybe you like how we created a skincare trends one-sheeter and you want to use the same format, but in hair care or in makeup. You could even just be like, okay, I'm just going to look at the top trends and sort it like this, and I'm going to apply it to a different category.
Hannah, I love all of this. This is so exciting.
I love it too. It's
I
great.
do have one question for you. When we're searching in brands, I was taking a look
Mhm.
at it and I noticed there were categories like sustained riser, seasonal riser. I know what Rising Star is. Can you tell me a little bit more about sustained riser and seasonal riser?
Of course, it's a great question. So these are what we call our clusters. And this is how we're categorizing the data. And we're showing what's growing versus what's declining. If you hover over any of these terms, we give a quick snapshot here, but sustained is basically telling you there's steady growth or steady decline. So you'll see we have a sustained riser and a sustained decliner. So if you want to see what's been steadily declining or steadily increasing year over year, you'll click on one of these clusters here. Seasonal is telling you what has seasonality to it. So think about this as the SPF category, or even fragrance has a lot of seasonality to it, meaning there are certain times of the year where we're seeing a pattern. It increases, like perfume here. You can see, let me pull this over, in the winter months, because everyone's buying perfume, right? For either their friends or significant other, for a gift. And then it starts to come down a little bit. And then we see it having that moment of coming up again in the winter months. So there's sort of this pattern that the data is following based on a season. And then if it's flat, it just means it's stagnant, it's not growing or declining. Was that helpful?
Super helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. And to that note, if you hover over pretty much any section of the dashboard, we give definitions everywhere, and we explain things. So if you're like, what does year over year growth mean? I have to explain this to an investor. I need to talk about this. Click on the question mark and we give definitions all over the dashboard. And then you can see here.
Love all of this. So thorough. Thank you so much.
Of course. Any more questions?
Is there somewhere that I can look at trends in terms of like topics related to beauty that, so like for example a video about like, and for ideas for like TikToks to create?
Yeah, I would say our TikTok section's great to go to in general. Think of this like a content generator. It will be within certain categories, but we do have something called cultural shifts too. And cultural shifts are looking at like, like the TikTok aesthetics. So you can see what's growing, like we can see theme aesthetics here. You can see what's growing month over month. And I think these give ideas to beauty, like you're saying, like luxury aesthetic or old money aesthetic. It's just kind of influencing maybe what you could talk about. And you could talk about that in terms of like hair, of makeup, of fragrance, and how they all fit into an aesthetic. Or you could go back and you could maybe just look at like makeup looks. I think would be a really good one too. So you want to see, okay, you can see like vanilla girl makeup, smudged eyeliner, cloud skin, and like these help with, okay, what are, and then the top posts are underneath.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Any additional questions or feedback? If not, you guys can always reach out to me over email, or you can reach out to Jenny and ask any questions. We're always here to help. And if you just, even if you want to brainstorm something, like feel free to come to us with an idea and we can come back with a few tracks you could take in the dashboard of how to find that data.
Hey, Hannah, I'll ask a question. My name is Kenny. I'm the founder of a skincare line for bald men. If I was to come into this tool and I was trying to search for, because I guess, so for example, when I was looking for influencers to like reach out to on TikTok or Instagram, what I ended up, I was trying to find some different hashtags. What I ended up realizing was working the best was searching bald and bearded, and I could, whatever, that was working for whatever reason to help me find influencers. So I wanted to come in here to find potential themes for like skincare things that bald men might be typing in. Like, how would I go about that?
Yeah, so you could go into, you want to do it for skincare or for hair care?
I like scalp care.
Scalp care. Let's go into scalp care. I think that's a good one. Or even scalp concerns. So scalp concerns is going to be under hair concerns here. And then you could look at like bald spot scalp right here, or I think even more come up, but let's click into this trend. You could look under TikTok. See that, okay, there's really some growth here. What are the videos looking at?
Okay.
And then what are like the top hashtags here? And then maybe this is like, okay, I want to go look at hair loss in general, or alopecia, or I want to look at like hair routine. So I'd say that's a good way to go about it. But our hair concern section, I think, is going to be a really great place to start. And then going into scalp concerns, or even hair condition here, looking at hair growth, looking at hair routine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd focus on those areas.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Is there a place we can look at influencers? Or no?
We do have a filter called influencers. We're not usually used as like an influencer type tool, but you can use us for that. So filter by influencers whenever you're in a section. Like let's go into makeup for fun. Let's go into makeup looks, and then let's click on influencers here. And you can see what influencer is being hashtagged and growing at the highest rate. And then you could even go into these videos as well. And I think this would be a great tool for finding influencers, because they might not be trending as a hashtag, but maybe they created like a top video that resonates with the space you're looking for.
Thank you so much. Any other additional questions? Okay, I'll pass it over to Jenny then. Thank
Yeah,
you guys all
you
for
so much.
joining. Yeah,
Thank you, Hannah. We really appreciate the overview, and all of the new features are really exciting. So I'm excited to get in there and play with them. Thank you all for being here this morning. As a reminder, this is recorded, so we'll put the replay up if you missed anything from earlier in the session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can pass them to Hannah, or I will drop Hannah's information in the replay as well, so you can reach out directly. Thank you so
Perfect.
much, everyone.
Thanks,
Jenny, I
everyone.
did have
Enjoy
one
your
quick
weekend.